Hi guys, Scott Woodward with you to talk about State of Origin 2012, Game 3 and the big deciding game. Will Queensland win 7 straight or will New South Wales start a run? Promises to be an outstanding game. Games 1 and 2 will be just absolutely unbelievable games, and this promises to be the game of the year beyond any doubt. Certainly the interest, the crowd, the ratings should break all records. Can't wait till kick-off time. But look, if I want to be a cynic, despite the fact games 1 and 2 were amazing games, they were decided by injuries and they were decided by the sin bin. And I have to say that game 3 looks like it'll go the same way, although I hope we have no sin bin, but it certainly looks to be very, very heavily relied upon injuries. It'll be survival of the fittest. Both teams are taking players into this game with injuries, and under normal club games they probably wouldn't be playing some of these players. They're certainly patched up, and the doctors have just done a wonderful effort just to get them on the field and be competitive. Remains to be seen if they'll stay there for long periods of time. Queensland have already lost Billy Slater, and he suffered an injury in game 2, had an impact on his performance, and also Corey Parker was also a bad injury during the game, and of course they winded that game also without THAIDAY. So game 2 was very, very heavily impacted from Queensland point of view because of injuries, and they lost Cooper CRONK in the sin bin, and New South Wales were able to get home and win. Having said that, they absolutely deserved to win, there's no doubt about that, even though just one little touch of the ball by Dave Taylor and had Jennings not knocked the ball out of Tate's hand. All those things, those little split-second things, Queensland win game 2 and the season's all over. But we have a live series here, and it's absolutely very, very difficult. Just have a quick look at the betting. We're talking here Sunday night, and at the moment, bookmakers in Australia, best price Queensland at this stage is $1.68, and New South Wales is $2.40. The exchanges will be better than that on game day when there's more liquidity, there's no doubt about that. But we're looking at 168, 240 at the moment with Queensland favourite, and I have to say I agree with that market, which means that there's not a lot of value in terms of betting, but I think there'll be a lot of value in the run. When we have a look at some of these plays, and I'll tell you particularly some of the players that I want to look at, some of these world-class players have been really down on form in the first 2 origins, and providing they're okay and they can find their best form, I think Queensland will definitely have an edge in this game. I'm certainly looking at Justin Hodges. He hasn't been cited in the first 2 games. He's a world-class centre, certainly in the top 2 centres in the last 5 or 6 years in the world, and he hasn't shown that in the last 2 games. He's supposed to be playing with an injury, and he's supposed to be in some doubt to actually even play. And my mail is that's why Teo has made it onto the bench. If Hodges happens to be okay, Teo will play in the forwards, and that'll be fine. He's a good hit man, he's a good worker, can miss some tackles, but he'll be good for the forwards. If Hodges is not okay, Teo will go straight into that right centre position, a position that he has played for the Broncos a few times. So that's why Teo's there in place of Dave Taylor. I'm sure if Justin Hodges was okay, I think they would have gone with Dave Taylor. And it's a shame in a lot of ways that he's not there. We just watched him play for South Sydney and get man of the match, and he has that X factor. And while he probably cost Queensland the game in game 2, had an absolute shocker. He didn't have his mind on the job, and we understand he has a lot of personal problems, but those problems seem to be all gone on Sunday, and he seems to be back to his best, and he would have been very valuable for Queensland on the bench. But Ben Teo won't let them down, and they'll certainly know that he's there in defence. He certainly is a very good timer of a hit, and they'll certainly know when he comes in for the hit. But he can also chime in and run good lines and can score a try, and so I think he's a good acquisition off the bench, and I think he'll do very well there. But really looking forward to see how Justin Hodges goes in the first 20 or 30 minutes in this game. He could hold the key to Queensland winning this competition. Brent Tate is just a marvel. Got no idea how he's able to play, but he's going to be there playing. We're going to hope that he lasts the game. Once again, if he goes down, Teo or Gillette could find themselves playing on the wing. big question mark about him. Obviously Matthew Scott, with his mum dying, we've got no idea how his head's going to be, how long he'll play for, and actually how well he'll play. But unlike Robbie Farah, he's easily replaceable. They have got a lot of forwards. Although he is probably their best prop, they have got a lot of prop forwards that they can bring in. Robbie Farah is a different kettle of fish. They've only got one hooker of Robbie Farah's class, so he is a big problem, and we'll get to New South Wales in a second, but we can't expect Robbie to play like he played in Game 2 when he just had an incredible game. He was the absolute star of the game, and since then he's said goodbye to his mum, and we can't expect him to put in a game like that again. Nate Myles has got a bad shoulder injury. He'll be okay to play, and we can only assume that he'll be okay, but it is a concern. Corey Parker only lasted 8 minutes in Game 2, and he was one of the reasons why I really liked Queensland in the second game, and unfortunately we never got to see it. It was an incredible 8 minutes what he did. The hit-ups and the tackles that he did was quite amazing, but I'll be very surprised if he doesn't make the most amount of tackles of any Queenslander on the field. Corey Parker, I have a high regard for him. He averages 134 metres in club footy, not just taking the ball up, but the tackles that he makes, the work that he does behind play, and he's got a very good offload in him as well. Just an outstanding lock forward, Corey Parker. Really delighted that he's starting the game, and that's a big plus for Queensland. He's a far superior player, in my opinion, to Ashley Harrison. I was staggered to hear Peter Sterling say that Ashley Harrison being out is a big loss for Queensland. If Corey Parker is not a better lock forward, well, I've never watched a game of football. So I was stunned at that comment by Stella, absolutely stunned. I think Corey Parker is one of the reasons why Queensland have got a great chance of winning this game. Matt Gillette, for his standards, I think he's absolutely outstanding, but I haven't started him in the first 2 games. I can only imagine that he's been a bit gun shy, and back at home on his home ground, we can only expect that he'll do a lot better in this game. Ben Hannett's supposed to be playing with an injury. He didn't get a lot of minutes in Game 2, and I would imagine that the same will happen here. I think he's going into a game with an injury, got to be a concern. So Queensland will be relying very heavily on David Shillington. They'll be relying very heavily on Sam FIDAY. He was an in for them. They didn't have him in Game 2. So they've got quite a few things to look forward to. A lot of their good players have been down on form, and they're such class players, it's not ideal for them to do it in consecutive big games. Is not what you expect from world-class players. So you'd expect players like that to really rev up for this all-important sudden death game. Greg Inglis comes in at fullback for Billy Slater, and as good as Billy Slater is, and statistically he's the best fullback in the world, and by quite a margin, let me say. But Greg Inglis is also a world-class player, and Greg doesn't make as many mistakes as Billy. And as good as Billy is, he's had a shocker as far as Billy's concerned in the first 2 games. So you might say he's a loss, and I guess on his history it is a loss, but on his form, he's not a loss. And Greg Inglis is in form, and so we have an informed fullback coming in and playing. So that also can only be good for Queensland. Remains to be seen if it's a minus or a plus, but nice to be able to put someone like Greg Inglis in. It remains to be an incredible spine for Queensland. You've got Greg Inglis, Johnathan, Thurston, Cooper Cronk and Cameron Smith as your spine. That is almost an unbeatable combination. Teams that have a spine like that don't lose too many games, I can assure you of that. It's an outstanding spine, as opposed to the New South Wales spine, which is okay, but it's not as good as that. From the New South Wales point of view, they have quite a few players also with injuries. But I want to focus on 3 of them: Greg Bird, Paul Gallen and Luke Lewis. They are all passed up for this game, and remains to be seen if they'll last the distance. I think if they cop a couple of heavy knocks, they could be in some trouble. Paul Gallen, he keeps going in the knee and the hammy. Greg Bird has a sternum, and I'm told it is a very painful injury to sternum, and we don't know if he cops a hit there how long he will last for. Luke Lewis got he hobbled off for the last Penrith game, and I'm amazed to see him just up and training. It just amazed me, these guys, how they recover so quick when someone carries you off from the field. But they are the heart and soul of the New South Wales team, and they can't afford to lose any of those guys. Look, we've talked about Robbie Farah. He basically got New South Wales home last game. I'll be amazed if he puts in such a good performance as that. I'm sure he'll do well because he's a class act and a wonderful player. But 63 tackles, keep hitting the ball up, and just being an absolute nuisance. You just can't imagine. That was a career best performance by Robbie, and he did it because his mum was watching. She's not there now, and he suffered a massive blow in his life. You know, while we wish him all the best, just from a game point of view, you just can't imagine that he will repeat that same performance in this game. As far as the bench is concerned, Ben Crayer won't let anybody down. Tony Williams has got to be a risk as far as fitness is concerned. He played 80 minutes with his first game back from a long while, and he's just a marvel. I just don't know how he does it. Give me some of those pills, please. He is just a freak. He will come on and he'll be a handful. He's untackleable for one person, so he'll take 2 and 3 people to stop him or even put him down. And it's the offloads that Queensland will have to worry about. They haven't got the Tony Williams on their side, which was going to be Dave Taylor. So if he lasts and if his injuries are okay, Tony Williams is going to be a big plus. But Tony Williams can miss tackles, and he can have bad hands and miss balls. So yeah, look, you've got to have him there, but he can also cause some problems. So look, just summing up, it's virtually impossible. New South Wales have been the best team in the last 2 games. There's no doubt about that. And from the Queensland's point of view, the big plus is that they've got all the improvement to make in this game. And they're not just ordinary players who you're hoping will make improvement. We're talking about world-class players. World-class players who don't normally have 2 bad games in a row. It just normally doesn't happen. So, you know, we know the spine will go well. I want to point out that New South Wales losing Glenn Stewart, I think, is a monumental loss. He plays as a second 5'8", and not only is he a wonderful talker and a brilliant strategist in a game, and always manages to go the right way and sets up his link men, but he's also a very, very good defender. And just ask Johnathan Thurston how he kept him quiet in game 2. I think he is a big, big loss. Bo Scott is a noted defender and comes in to replace him, but he offers absolutely nothing in attack. And New South Wales are going to have a side that they know they're going to have to make 24 points in this game if they want to be comfortable about winning. And Bo Scott will not add to that 24 points. He's not that type of player. He certainly could stop Johnathan Thurston from scoring a try, and maybe Greg Inglis coming through, but he's not going to help him there. By the same token, Queensland lose Greg Inglis in the centres, and they get Dane Nielsen, a wonderful defender, but he's probably not going to be too dangerous in attack. I think he'll be safely held as well. So it probably evens itself out. But, you know, Queensland get Greg Inglis at fullback. A lot of people think he's the best fullback in the world. Statistically, he's not, and he's a different type of fullback to Billy Slater. But you just get the feeling that these guys will rev up. And to say that they want to do it for Petero CIVONICEVA, you know, in all honesty, that's crap. Of course they do, but these guys give 110% every time they run out for a start of Origin game, and they're not going to give any more whether Petero's having his last game or not. But just having him running out there on his home ground at Suncorp Oval, like Darren Lockyer did and like Alan Langer did, it's certainly going to be a wonderful thing, and it'll be a good feel in the dressing room, and the guys will run on there and be confident that Petero is letting them out there and he'll pack down. Just a wonderful player, and just be sad that he's not going to be playing any more State of Origins, and I've got no doubt that he'll have a good game. A lot of people think he's way past his best. I don't think he's that far past his best. They said that exactly this time last year, and he came out and he was the best prop on the field in Game 3 last year, and I wouldn't be a little bit surprised if he's the best again this year. Can't wait till he hits the ball up the first time and see if Grant tries to tackle him or vice versa. That will be one of the highlights in the first few minutes of the game, there's no doubt about that. Look, as far as investing is concerned in this game, I can't do anything at the odds because I think the prices are right. But those guys that I talked about in the Queensland team that I want to monitor Hodges, Tate, and Matthew Scott very closely in the game. I want to have a close look at Nate Miles and Corey Parker. And if there doesn't seem to be any problems with those guys, and I think that they're moving okay, I probably will be looking at being on Queensland at half-time or in the run. And I strongly suggest that's what you do. Please log into our Twitter or our Facebook. Our Facebook is obviously Champion Profits. Log into that and we'll give you our half-time line, and you can compare that with all the bookmakers. We'll also give you our comment as how we see the game going, and that'll be based on our statistical database and how we think the flow of the game's going, penalties, rubber the green, but also injuries will be a big factor. So the line will be all important at half-time, and I'm confident that we can invest successfully at half-time. Don't really like getting involved when I think the prices are right. So we're not going to do anything at this stage, but certainly tune in. There's one tip I can give you. This will be an incredible game, and whatever you do, don't miss it. I'm already starting to count the hours, and I can't wait till it starts. And I hope you enjoy the game, and I look forward to talk to you next time. Cheers.